It was a Wednesday morning, the same Wednesday it always comes, and a 71-year-old woman in Ohio sat at her kitchen table, waiting for a deposit that simply never showed up. No phone call, no letter, no warning, just an empty space in her bank account where her federal benefit payment was supposed to be. She wasn't behind on anything. She hadn't done anything wrong. She hadn't missed a deadline she knew about or ignored a notice she received. She had simply missed one small update, one quiet policy change that millions of seniors across this country are still missing right now in 2026 without even knowing it. And by the time most people find out what went wrong, the damage is already done. The payment is already late. The rent is already overdue. The prescription is already sitting at the pharmacy counter unpaid. And the phone is already ringing with someone on the other end who knows exactly how vulnerable that moment makes you. Stick with me for the next few minutes because by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what is changing with direct deposit this year, why some seniors are getting caught completely off guard, and the specific steps that can keep your payments safe, on time, and out of the hands of the wrong people. My name is Lana Maines, and I am here to represent taxpayers directly in front of the Internal Revenue Service. Before we get into it, do me one favor. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because what I cover here is exactly this kind of information. The changes that are already in motion. The ones that affect your real money in the real world. The ones the agency isn't going to call you about. This is why I'm here. Now let's get into it. What I am covering today is the direct deposit changes that could delay or block your federal payment this June 2026. 3 of them. All 3 are already in effect or going into effect before the end of this month. All 3 affect your payment directly. And all 3 are operating at the same time, which is the part that makes this particular moment more dangerous than any single change on its own. When one change opens a gap, a scammer might find it eventually. When 3 changes open gaps simultaneously, scammers are already waiting inside them. So let's go through every single one. The first change is the one that sounds the most administrative on paper and carries the most immediate financial risk in real life. Starting June 2026, if your federal payment is still arriving by paper check, it stops. No replacement check gets mailed in its place. No automatic transfer happens in the background. The money simply does not arrive. The federal government's own data shows that fewer than 1% of all beneficiaries are still receiving paper checks right now, which means the overwhelming majority of people watching this have already made the switch to direct deposit. But here is the problem that nobody is talking about clearly enough. Making the switch and making it correctly through the right channel with verified current account information are 2 completely different things. And the gap between those 2 situations is exactly where the first change creates its danger. Take a woman named Patricia. She is 71. A retired home health aide in Columbus, Ohio, who had received the same paper check at the same address for 11 years. 3 years ago, she switched to direct deposit. She assumed the electronic transfer was still active. It was not. The bank account she had used at the time of enrollment was closed after a bank merger. Patricia did nothing wrong. She didn't miss a phone call or ignore a letter. Her account simply no longer existed in the system, and the payment had nowhere to go. In June, the money did not arrive. For Patricia, that meant a week of phone calls, a delayed rent payment, and a lot of unnecessary fear, all because of a gap between what she assumed was true and what was actually on file. For decades, the federal benefit payment system operated on paper. Checks were printed, addressed, and mailed. The system was slow, expensive, and according to the government's own published data, paper checks are 16 times more likely to be lost, stolen, or fraudulently redirected than electronic payments. That is not a contested statistic. That is the documented basis for this entire transition. The federal government has been moving beneficiaries to direct deposit for years. What changes in June 2026 is the finality of it. The paper disbursement infrastructure is being wound down. The target is 0% paper checks, not reduced, not phased, eliminated. And for any beneficiary still receiving them, that deadline is not a suggestion. Here is the mistake that costs people the most and costs them fastest. Assuming that because your payment has been arriving electronically, your enrollment is confirmed and current. Bank account changes, routing number updates, bank mergers, and closed accounts can all create a broken link in the system without any immediate notification. The agency does not automatically know your bank closed. The agency does not automatically know your routing number changed. You will not know the enrollment has lapsed until the payment fails to arrive. That is the trap. That is what Patricia walked into. And that is what leads us directly into the second change, because the enrollment confirmation process itself has now become the primary target. The tightening of banking verification requirements tied to this transition is where the real danger lives right now in 2026. And you will likely never be told about this danger by the agency directly. Here is the official process. Seniors who need to confirm or update their direct deposit information are required to verify their routing number, their account number, and their identity through an official government portal or an in-person visit. That requirement itself is not new. What is new is that scammers have mapped this process in granular detail and are now impersonating it step by step, using the confusion of this transition as the perfect cover story. Here's exactly how it works. A senior receives a phone call. The caller identifies as a representative of the federal agency handling their payment. The caller explains that due to the June 2026 system transition, the senior's account information needs to be reconfirmed to ensure uninterrupted payment. The caller has the senior's name. Sometimes they have the last 4 digits of the account number. They sound official. They sound calm and professional and helpful. They sound urgent in a way that feels responsible, not threatening. And then they ask for the full routing number, the full account number, or in some cases a one-time verification code that was just sent to the senior's phone. That verification code, the moment you read it to them, is all they need to take over the account entirely. I want you to pause right now and think about something specific. Think about your bank account, not a statement from last month, the actual account where your benefit is deposited. Picture the routing number on that account, because what I'm about to tell you about who is allowed to ask for that number is the single most important thing in this entire video. A legitimate federal dispersing agency will contact you by mail for account verification, not by phone, not by text, not by email, not through a link, by mail. The phone is where the fraud lives, full stop. If a caller is asking you to confirm financial account information to protect your payment from being interrupted, that caller is not the agency. That is a scam. The verification rule is simple, and if you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: you initiate, they do not. Any outbound contact asking you to confirm banking information is not the agency. The agency will never call you to ask for it. Never. The Social Security Administration's own fraud investigators have identified a pattern they see repeated in case after case after case. They call it the 4 Ps: pretend, problem, pressure, and payment. A scammer will pretend to be someone official, an SSA representative, a treasury agent, a benefits coordinator. Then they will present a problem, a suspended benefit, a flagged account, a required system update. Once they have your attention, they apply pressure, a 24-hour deadline, a 48-hour window before the payment is blocked, an urgent action required immediately. And finally comes a payment request, your routing number, your account number, your social security number, or a verification code sent to your phone. Every version of this fraud follows that exact same sequence, every single one. If you are in a conversation right now or in the future that follows that arc, pretend, problem, pressure, payment, you are not talking to the agency. End the call. You can always call back to an official number you find yourself if you have any doubt about whether the call was legitimate, but end that call first. Before I get to the third change, and I want you to hear this because it is the one that creates the most dangerous window of all, I want to make sure you have something in your hands that the agency will never hand you directly. The exemptions, the breaks, the refunds that most seniors already qualify for but never claim because they simply don't know they exist. I've put them all together in one place, state by state, form by form, so you don't have to spend hours digging through government websites trying to figure out what applies to you. No matter what state you're in, there is almost certainly money sitting on the table with your name on it. I call it the Senior Exemption Playbook. It's in the first pinned comment right below this video. Tap it once and you'll have everything laid out fast and simple. Now stay right here, because the third change is the one I made this entire video to explain. The third change is the one that almost no one has been warned about clearly, and it is the most dangerous of the three. Not because of what it does to your payment on its own, but because of the window it creates for someone else to do something to your payment. Under the old paper check system, payment dates were fixed. The same date, the same day of the week, month after month, year after year. Beneficiaries built their entire monthly financial schedule around that date. Rent, utilities, prescriptions, groceries, everything timed to the arrival of that check. People knew it was coming on the 14th, or the third Wednesday, or whatever date applied to them, and they planned accordingly. Under the fully electronic system that is now being finalized, disbursement schedules are being restructured. Some seniors will see their payment arrive on a different date than they have received it for years. Not because the payment was missed, not because there is a problem with their account, not because anything is wrong, but because the electronic processing calendar operates differently than the paper disbursement calendar, and the transition is shifting dates for a meaningful portion of beneficiaries. The payment is coming. It is simply coming on a different day than the day they have always expected it. Here is why this matters more than the first two changes combined. That confusion window, the 2 or 3 days when a payment has not yet arrived and the beneficiary does not know why, is the highest value moment in the entire fraud calendar. Scammers know this window exists. They study disbursement schedules. They call into that window deliberately because they know a senior who is already anxious about a missing payment is a different kind of target than a senior who has no reason to worry. The senior who is already scared picks up the call. The senior who is already panicking is not thinking as carefully as they normally would. The caller offers a resolution, a reason for the delay, a way to confirm the payment is coming. The trap closes. What feels like help is the mechanism of the theft itself. And here is the piece that makes this even more urgent. The processing time on account changes has been shortened significantly as part of the electronic transition. Updates that used to take 30 days to go into effect now process in as little as 1 business day. That speed is genuinely useful when you need to make a legitimate change quickly, a new bank account after a move, a routing number update, but that same speed means a fraudulent redirect, if one gets through, can take effect just as fast. The margin for catching a mistake or a theft after the fact is smaller than it has ever been. The system moves faster now in both directions. So here is exactly what to do, the complete protocol before June ends, to make sure your payment is protected. Step 1 is to confirm your enrollment status. Go directly to the official government benefits portal, not through a link in a text message or an email, but by typing the official address yourself, or calling the number on your official benefit documentation. Confirm that your current account information is on file and accurate. Do not assume it is. Confirm it. Step 2 is to verify your routing number and account number are current. If you have changed banks at any point in the last 18 months, log into your account, confirm both numbers are still correct, and update them through the official portal only. This is a 10-minute task that could prevent a missed payment and weeks of trying to track down what went wrong. Step 3 is to find out your new payment date. Because of the schedule restructuring, your payment may now arrive 1 to 3 business days earlier or later than the date you have been expecting for years. Get the correct new date from the official disbursement calendar, not from a caller, not from a text, not from a search result. Write the date down. Put it in your phone. Set a calendar reminder. Step 4 is to build what I call a 3-day rule. If your payment has not arrived by your expected date, wait 3 full business days before taking any action at all. Most delays in the new electronic system resolve naturally within that window. The danger is not in waiting 3 days. The danger is in acting inside those 3 days, because that is exactly the window when fraud finds you. When you are anxious when the payment hasn't arrived, when someone calls and says they can fix it, that is the moment to stay still, not to act fast. Step 5 is that if you do need to call about a missing payment, use only the number printed on your official benefit card or in official documentation you already have in your possession. Not a number a caller gave you. Not a number you found in a search result, because search results can be manipulated to show spoofed contact listings. The number you already have on paper from the agency itself. It is also worth setting up a personal online account directly through the official Social Security website if you have not already done so. Once that account exists, any attempt by anyone to change your address or your direct deposit information triggers an alert sent directly to you. That means if someone tries to redirect your payment, you find out almost immediately rather than discovering it weeks later when the deposit simply is not there. It also makes it significantly harder for anyone to create a fraudulent account in your name because the spot is already taken by you. If setting up that account feels overwhelming, ask a trusted family member or friend to sit with you for 15 or 20 minutes and help you get it done. Once it is set up, it works quietly in the background, protecting you without you having to do anything else. Get into the habit of checking your bank account around the time your payment is expected each month. If that expected date comes and goes and nothing has arrived, call your bank first to rule out anything on their end. If the bank confirms nothing came through, then contact the agency directly using a number you find yourself on the official government website. The earlier a missing payment is reported, the easier it is to trace and resolve. Waiting passively for days while hoping it arrives on its own is how a 2-day problem becomes a 2-week problem. And one more thing worth saying clearly, because scammers count on isolation more than almost anything else. They want you making a decision alone, under pressure, with no one to check in with. If you have a family member or anyone you trust who helps with bills or financial paperwork, let them know which bank account your benefit goes to and when it is expected. Agree between the two of you that if either of you ever receives a call claiming to be from a federal agency asking to confirm account information, you talk to each other before responding to anything. That one habit, that single agreement, takes away the most powerful tool a scammer has before they ever get the chance to use it. That is the complete protocol. The senior who checks their account on the 1st of June and does not see their payment yet knows exactly what to expect, exactly how long to wait, and exactly what to do if something still feels wrong after that window has passed. That is the difference between that morning being a crisis and it being nothing more than a Tuesday. None of what I've shared today requires you to become a technology expert or to live in a state of constant anxiety about every phone call that comes through. It simply requires the same healthy skepticism you would apply if a stranger knocked on your door and asked for your house keys. You would not hand them over just because the person sounded confident and official. Your routing number, your account number, your social security number, they deserve exactly that same level of caution. Every single time, without exception. The agency is not going to call you to tell you about these changes in a way that protects you from what follows. That is what this channel is for. Confirm the account. Know the date. Know the pattern. Because the system moves fast now, and the people trying to exploit it move even faster. You being informed is the one thing that slows them down. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone you care about who receives federal benefits. One share could be the thing that keeps them out of the situation Patricia found herself in on that Wednesday morning in Ohio. And check the first pinned comment below for the Senior Exemption Playbook. It is free, it is thorough, and there is very likely something in it with your name on it. I'll see you in the next one.